Hello students, today we are going to discuss about gastrulation and pregnancy. In previous lecture we have already discussed about implantation, and let me see today what happened after implantation. So after implantation, finger-like projections, and that is called chorionic villi, will be formed. You can see here, this is a finger-like projections and that is called chorionic villi. It will appear on the trophoblast, which is surrounded by the uterine tissue and maternal blood. Okay, so be very clear what happened after implantation. A finger-like projection first of all will be developed, and that is called chorionic villi. Okay, you can see here. Okay, in this slide also, in this photograph also, you can observe this is the chorionic villi, that is a finger-like projection over here. Okay, and which will be filled with the maternal blood. Here you can see this is the maternal blood, uterine wall this is. Okay, and this is the uterine artery and vein here. Okay, this which will provide the blood and all that, nutrition and all that. And this is the placental region. This region is a placental region. Okay, and this one is the umbilical artery and umbilical vein, and both will form together umbilical cord. Here you can see this is the umbilical cord. Okay, so this one is a placenta. This structure is a placenta. Okay, and this one is a, you can see here, this is the umbilical cord. Okay, and the chorionic villi and uterine tissue become interdigitated. Okay, it will merge together and it become interdigitated with each other, and it will be form placenta. So what together will form placenta? Chorionic villi and uterine tissue. Here you can see this is the wall of a uterus and this is the chorionic villi. They will merge together. Okay, and it will form interdigitation, and that is forming a placenta. And placenta is a structural and a functional unit. Okay, so you must be remember this definition. What is a placenta? Placenta is a structural and a functional unit between embryo, means fetus itself, and maternal body. So mother and the fetus will come in contact or communicate with each other by using this placenta. So placenta is connected to the embryo by an umbilical cord. Okay, you can see here this is the placenta, and it is connected with the embryo by using this one cord. Here you can see, and that is called umbilical cord. It will transport substances, especially nutrition, to and from the embryo. Okay, so it is very important rule of umbilical cord is to transfer substances to and from the embryo. Now let me discuss in detail. So first of all we will discuss about gastrulation. Okay, so what is a gastrulation? Gastrulation is an important dynamic process in the development of an early embryo. That is embryogenesis. That is early embryogenesis. It involves the movement of a cell masses. Okay, and that movement of a cell masses, these movements are called morphogenetic movements. So be very clear, these movements are called morphogenetic movements. Okay, to their definitive position in the embryo, and as a result of that, okay, you will see here this is the trophoblast. Okay, and by this way the cell will move towards, and then they will form ectoderm, then endoderm, mesoderm. Okay, and finally you can see this trophoblastic layer will convert into first two layer structure and then three layer structure. As you know very well, we are a triploblastic animal. Okay, so gastrulation we can observe in all mammals. Okay, because we are all mammals are a triploblastic, and that's why this ectoderm, endoderm, mesoderm formation will be occur over here. So here what happened? Definitive position in the embryo it will take, and then it will form three primary germinal layer. Okay, it will form three primary germinal layer, and this whole germinal layer is called ectoderm, endoderm, and mesoderm. This is the innermost layer, this is the middle one, and this is the outermost layer. So ectoderm, endoderm, mesoderm is the primary germinal layer out of which organogenesis will occur. In this slide you can get the clear idea about the gastrulation. So you know very well, first of all this type of cell will arrangement will be there, and that is a blastocell. Here inside this is the blastocell, and it is surrounded by the trophoblast layer. Okay, and finally it will be converted into blastula stage. Here you can see. Okay, then you can see this whole cell will rearrange. Okay, the cell will move towards their exact position, and it will look like three layer structure. Okay, and this three layer structure, three germinal layer structure is called gastrula. Okay, and the process is called gastrulation. Okay, and you can see here, this is the mesoderm. The middle one is the mesoderm, innermost is the endoderm, and outermost is the ectoderm. So by this way, whole structure will convert into three-layer structure: endoderm, ectoderm, and the mesoderm. So let me repeat, what is a gastrulation? Gastrulation is an early embryonic development, okay, in which the cells of a blastula rearrange. Here nothing has happened. Here just blastula will arrange, means rearrange their cells into a three-layer embryo, and that is called, their stage is called gastrula. Here you can see blastocell, then gastrulation will occur, and as a result of that, here you can see three-layer structure will be formed, and that is called gastrula. Parallel to gastrulation, the chorion, you can see here this structure is a chorion. Okay, so chorion will consist of outer layer and inner layer. Okay, so outer layer formed by the primitive ectoderm, or it is also considered as a trophoblast. Here you can see this is the outer layer, and that is also called as a trophoblast or a primitive ectoderm. And inner layer, it will be consist of somatic mesoderm, okay, or it is also called as extra embryonic mesoderm, from which the chorionic cavity will be formed. So here you can see chorionic cavity will be formed, and outer layer is a trophoblast and inner layer will be somatic mesoderm. Now this chorion will undergoes rapid proliferation of cells and forms chorionic villi. Okay, you can see here these are the chorionic villi, the finger-like projections. Here you can see these all are chorionic villi, finger-like projection. The chorionic villi invade the endometrium. Be very clear. But which layer will be invaded? Here you can see chorionic villi will invade first endometrium and help in the transfer of a nutrient, and also it will help in the transport of oxygen. Okay, from which from mother to fetus, means from maternal blood to fetal blood. Chorionic villi formation will lead to placenta formation. So let me see how placenta will be formed and what is the role of a placenta. So first of all, the placenta consists of two essential portions. Be very clear. Placenta is made up of two essential portions. They are maternal part and fetal part. Okay, so placenta is a junction in between mother and the fetus, and that's why some part will be maternal and some part will be fetal. Okay, so maternal part of a placenta is derived from the endometrium of a uterus. Be very clear which part of the mother is participating in the formation of a placenta. So here mother part will be endometrium of a uterus. Okay, so be very clear here. Now next, which part of a fetal will participate in the placenta formation? So fetal part of the placenta is derived from fetal membrane. Okay, so here you must be very clear what is a placenta. Placenta consisting of two main regions, maternal part and fetal part. So here you can see more details about placenta. So placenta, as I told you in last slide, maternal component and fetal component both are present in the placenta, right? So let me see which maternal component will be there. So maternal component will include uterine epithelium, then uterine connective tissue, uterine capillary endothelium. These all portion from the uterus. Okay, and then here in fetal component you can see fetal capillary endothelium, fetal connective tissue, and fetal chorionic epithelium. This whole structure together form placenta. Here in this diagram you can get clear idea what is a placenta. So placental region, you can see here this is the placenta, and that is made up of maternal part and fetal part. So here allantochorion contribute the fetal part. Okay, let me understand more. So here you can see these structures. The outermost pinkish layer is a chorion. Okay, so this pinkish layer is a chorion, and these pinkish layer will form some finger-like projection towards the uterine wall. Here you can see, okay, these are the projection which is developed from the chorion, and that's why it is called chorionic villi. Okay, so let me repeat. The outermost layer is a chorion, that is a pinkish in color. Here you can see. Okay, and here in the near to the uterine wall, you can see finger-like projection will be developed, and that is called chorionic villi. Why it is called chorionic villi? Because it is developed from the chorionic layer. Okay, so this is the chorion and this is the chorionic villi. Okay, and now innermost you can see this bluish color region is the amnion. It is a fluid. Okay, that is also called as the amniotic fluid, that is surrounding the embryo. Okay, so that is the amnion, and this is the main embryo, you can see. Okay, and these allantois, this greenish part is the allantois. Okay, and this is yolk sac here, this yellowish color, and this both together, you can see here, this both together is forming umbilical cord. So why it is written here allantochorionic contribute? So this allantoic region along with the chorionic region both will be a fetal part, you can see here, and this reddish color part is a uterine wall. Okay, that is the mother part. Okay, this whole part is of a fetus. So fetus part is a mainly allantochorionic contribution. Okay, then this reddish part you can see it is a maternal portion. So here you can see fetal portion of a placenta and maternal portion of a, you can see, placenta. Okay, so you must be very clear which portions are responsible for forming the placenta. The placenta facilitate a more effective and efficient part for exchange and passage of a nutrient, respiratory gases, especially CO2 and O2, hormones, antibodies, etc. between the fetus and mother and by 12th week of pregnancy. So be very clear, by the 12th week of pregnancy. During organogenesis, means when organ will be formed, region of these three embryonic germ layer, you know, ectoderm, endoderm and mesoderm, these all three germ layer or the three embryonic germ layers develop into rudiments organs, means all type of organ will be developed from this. Here in this slide you can see a list of functions of a placenta. So now let me discuss one by one. So first of all, it will act as a barrier between the fetus and the mother, that I already told you. It is an intermediate between fetus and mother. It will also supply oxygen and nutrient from mother to fetus. Okay, and third one is also important to notice that it will also remove the CO2 and excretory waste from the fetus, and very important to notice here, it will act as an endocrinal gland. So be notice here, to note here, this is very important to note because these will only found during the pregnancy. So this placenta will act as an endocrinal gland during pregnancy only in case of a female. Okay, so it will secrete human chorionic gonadotropic hormone, that is also called HCG, and second hormone which is secreted out by this placenta is a human placental lactogen, that is a HPL. Then estrogen also secreted out, progesterone and relaxin. And to be noticed here, relaxin can also be secreted by ovary. Now let me discuss some rule of HPL, that is a one kind of a hormone secreted by placenta. So first here you can see a lipolysis, and due to which increasing free fatty acids, and it will provide a source of energy. Then second function is to inhibit the gluconeogenesis process. As a result of that, spare both glucose and protein, and that will also act as an anti-insulin effect. Okay, then third one is a somatotrophic. That means it will act on the cells, and it will faster the cell division process, and as a result of that fetal growth will be promoted. Okay, or be faster. Then also they will act as a, means HPL will act as a memotropic and lactogenic. That means it will induce milk production, not the secretion. Be very clear here. Okay, it will not secrete the milk. Okay, here just a mammary gland will be induced to produce the milk, not the secretion, and lactogenic effect also induced. Second hormone that is produced or secreted by placenta is a human chorionic gonadotropin. It will send the message after production. It will send the message of a pregnancy. Okay, and as a result of that, it will send message to the master endocrinal system. And you know very well what is the master endocrinal system? Pituitary glands. Okay, so it will send a message of pregnancy to the master endocrinal system. That means it will send message to the pituitary gland, and as a result of that, okay, LH will be secreted. You know very well this master endocrine system include pituitary gland as well as hypothalamus. Okay, so as a result of that, finally LH will be secreted by this system, and it will maintain the corpus luteum. As I already told you, corpus luteum is responsible for secretion of progesterone, right? So here LH will be secreted, and as a result of that, it will maintain the corpus luteum, and ultimately it will maintain the production of a progesterone. Why why maintenance of progesterone is important here? Because if progesterone is there, then it will prevent the menstruation and further ovulation. So at that time, all the process of a menstruation and further ovulation process will be stopped under the effect of a corpus luteum secretion, and that is a progesterone. And by this way, maintenance will be done of a pregnancy, means maintain the pregnancy. Okay, so let me see one by one. What is this? Placenta will secrete the SCG. Okay, so this SCG will effect on the anterior pituitary gland or adenohypophysis region of a pituitary gland, and then this region will secrete LH, and due to LH secretion, what happen? It will maintain the corpus luteum. Okay, and as a result of that, the corpus luteum will start secretion of a progesterone. Also, it will prevent the menstruation, and also it will prevent the further ovulation. And by these all effect, pregnancy will be maintained. Along with this, HCG play very important role during the pregnancy test. Okay, because this will excrete along with the maternal urine. Okay, so if maternal urine is tested for the HCG, at that time HCG will be present in the maternal urine. This is the principle behind the pregnancy test. Okay, this is a rapid test of a pregnancy. Their presence in the urine is used as a test to detect the pregnancy in the early stage. Now let me define pregnancy. What is a pregnancy? So pregnancy is the period of intrauterine development of an embryo or a fetus in a woman's uterus, and that is called gestation period. And in human, gestation period will be 9 months. Okay, so in human, pregnancy average 266 days, that is a 38 weeks from fertilization of the egg, or 40 weeks. If you consider it from the fertilization of egg, then it will be 38 weeks. Okay, or if you not consider it, means 40th week from the start of the last menstrual cycle. So this is the consideration. So total number of days will be 266 days. So this is your homework for today's lecture, and before we finish this lecture, let me summarize whole topic by using one animation video. So look at
the
this
uterus.
video.
The blastocyst, with a developing embryo, gets implanted in the uterus and pregnancy is initiated. After implantation, the trophoblast grows further, which causes the blastocyst to sink in and get covered by the cells of the uterus. As the blastocyst sinks further into the uterus, finger-like projections called chorionic villi start appearing on the trophoblast. As the chorionic villi grow further, they interlock with uterine tissues to form the placenta, a structural and functional unit between the developing embryo and maternal body. Interestingly, when the placenta begins to form, the inner cell mass moves downwards and differentiates to form an embryonic disc consisting of 3 germ layers: the outer ectoderm, middle mesoderm, and inner endoderm. The term germ layer indicates that each of the layers gives rise to tissues. The ectoderm, for instance, gives rise to the nervous system and the skin, whereas the mesoderm develops into muscles and organs such as the heart and kidneys, while the endoderm gives rise to the entire digestive system. Did you know that apart from the 3 germ layers, the embryonic disc also contains certain cells called stem cells, which have the ability to give rise to all the tissues and organs present in the human body? As the embryonic disc grows, the cells of one side of the disc grow faster than those on the other side. This causes the disc to roll and form a cylindrical embryo. Initially, this embryo is attached to the placenta, but as it starts to develop, it moves away from the placenta and remains connected to it via an umbilical cord. The placenta is an important structure that supplies the embryo with oxygen, nutrients, and hormones. as well as carries waste products from the embryo back to the mother. The embryo stays inside the uterus for 9 months, which is called the gestation period.
In next lecture, we will learn about organogenesis and embryonic development. So till that, goodbye.